Today we're talking about the science of likability.
Something that Nick knows nothing about.
Yeah, all right. And the simple way to make yourself more likable without losing any of your authenticity. Life is beautiful.
But before we get into today's episode, quick question for you, Nick. How many games did it take the New York Knicks to win the NBA Finals in 2026?
That's an easy one. Knicks in 5, baby.
That is right. And you know what today is? It is 5-Star Friday, which means that this is the one time a week where we ask you for a huge favor to take just 5 seconds to go to your podcasting platform, whether that's Apple or Spotify or wherever it is that you listen, and find the little 5-star rating feature where on your little podcast app and tap that 5-star rating if you've been enjoying the show. That way, when other people come to it and they see, oh my God, there's like all these people that love this show, then they're like, oh, I should probably give it a shot because we are influenced by other people. That's just how life works.
Yeah.
So if you could do that, we'd really, 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 really appreciate it so we can help more people get their minds right. Okay?
Thank you.
Anyway, back to regularly scheduled programming. Can't say that today. But
All right. So how are we going to be more likable, Mike?
So there's science behind it, but I'm going to start with a more personal story because I think it was the perfect thing that really brings the science to life that I'll get to later.
Yeah.
So we just got back from Craft and Commerce, which is the email platform Kit's yearly conference, and it's basically a conference for creators. And it was fantastic because we had just delivered our first keynote, and to see other people deliver their keynotes was like inspiring in one sense. But I want to ask you, which keynote for you was the most memorable? Because I think I already know the answer, and I'm going to use it to prove a point.
It was a combination between that guy Barrett Brooks and the guy J.P.
Papasan.
J. Papasan, the author of The One Thing.
And okay, and I know where you're going with this. What was the common thread that both of them had?
The common thread both of them had was that they showed vulnerabilities and shared a part of their stories that showed a lot of pain from their past that they didn't shy away from, but leaned into and learned from.
Yeah. For me, I think the best one of the conference was Barrett Brooks. And to give you some context, Barrett Brooks is a coach, and he told the story about how he was sexually assaulted as a child. And he, for 45 minutes, just walked you through the pain that caused him and how he had to basically tell his parents that this happened and how he didn't even realize this happened until years later when he was an adult. And you just felt whatever it was that he was feeling. And it was just incredible. It was extremely memorable. And I literally said, I have to give you a hug after this. Talk about likability. I'd never even met the guy, but after his talk and him sharing that story, I went and gave him a hug as if I knew him for 20 years.
Wow.
So talk about likability. And then there was, for example, another speaker who you didn't name as one of your favorites, who was super valuable in terms of the information that they gave. Tons of information about like shooting your shot and like going and doing your thing, like really practical, valuable information, but was not nearly as memorable or likable because they just went up there and said how awesome they were and how they used this to basically be the best person on earth and didn't really share any vulnerability whatsoever. And I remember looking at you after their talk and saying, that was great, but like, she was like not vulnerable at all. Like, it was like, she's this perfect person. And we were just like, it could have been better. All she needed was a little bit of vulnerability. So we are
It felt like she was overcompensating.
Yeah, exactly. So there's something called the Pratfall Effect. And it really is, now we're getting into the science of likability and really taking what we just shared and getting into the nitty gritty of it.
Real quick, before you keep moving, I just was reminded of another thing from the Craft and Commerce conference, which was the biggest person by far that was there was James Clear, right? And him on stage, every answer he gave actually was like a version of him talking himself down a little bit, self-deprecating, and then his answer every single time. And I remember just listening to him being like, I really like this guy.
Yeah, I really like him.
I really like him.
They were like, you have the best-selling book basically of all time. So like,
and he's like, yeah, I mean, you need a little luck, but whatever. Like, it was so refreshing to hear somebody at that height who sold 30 million books,
Yeah.
bring himself down to earth. So
Yeah.
I
So let
just
me
thought that
let
was
me let me
practical.
explain the Pratfall effect.
Okay.
Okay. So in 1966, a psychologist named Elliot Aronson had people listen to audio recordings of people trying out for this quiz team,
Mhm.
like a Jeopardy kind of thing. And they thought that the recordings they were listening to were real, but they were actually staged. And so they were split up into four groups. Okay. But first, they were split up in half. There was recordings of people that were very competent, that were basically getting basically every answer right with a lot of confidence. And then there were audio recordings of people who sounded dumb, who were getting the answers wrong. Okay. But then they split those two groups into two more groups where they had half of the people on each side spill coffee on themselves at the end. Like you heard that person spill coffee over themselves and like, oh, I spilled coffee on myself. And the other half didn't. Just
Mhm.
nothing happened at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. So the most likable group by far were the ones who were confidently answering every single question and were really competent and knew their shit because
Mhm.
they were trustworthy, obviously. They knew their shit. But the ones who spilled the coffee at the end because it gave you that sense of like, oh, they're human. They're not this robotic person that's just perfect.
Yeah.
Right. So we think that our flaws are like going to show a crack in our armor, make us less likable. But really, the key to being likable is being competent, like knowing your shit,
Yeah.
but not being afraid to show vulnerabilities at the same time and admit that you are not perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because if you think about it, right, that is the thing that we all have in common as humans is that we are imperfect.
exactly.
So by putting on a display only perfection, it's impossible to have a common
Connection.
thread with you because we're not perfect. None of us are,
Yeah.
right? So as soon as you show that crack, now I can easily relate to you because I in my own life am imperfect.
100%. And real quick, I know we are getting to the tail end of this episode here, but the pratfall effect, where does the word pratfall come in? Fun fact pratfall is old theatrical slang for a clownish fall on your backside. So it's like when a clown would fall on their backside just for laughs,
Mm,
that's a pratfall.
interesting.
So that's where the pratfall effect comes in.
I like it. So basically,
Don't be afraid to
don't be
fail.
afraid of making fun of yourself and
I think,
calling.
yeah, the most practical way to apply this to get into the call to action is we get called out for mistakes a lot, right? Well, people, whether it's your spouse or your partner or your friends, they're going to call you out on something that you did wrong. And our gut reaction most of the time is to defend
Yeah.
ourselves, is to not admit our mistakes, is to hide it so that we can keep our perfect image. But if this has taught us anything, it's like own that mistake immediately. Immediately.
Yeah.
It's the best thing you can
That's
do.
like a PR 101.
Own the mistake immediately because it'll make you more likable. It'll tear all the walls down. It'll help you connect. And bonus points if you can find an opportunity to actually make fun of yourself today.
Love it.
Bonus points.
Is that the call to action?
Yeah, I'm just gonna end by saying I'm gonna do the call to action right now. I'm gonna make fun of myself and tell you a really funny story about the time that I shit myself. uh,
And no, he was not 3 years old.
I was in high school when I
Oh.
shit myself on the way to the bus stop, but I needed to make the bus. And on the way to running the bus, out of nowhere, I couldn't hold it. And then I got on the bus, and one by one, everyone is like starting to sniff. And like,
Oh
I
my
obviously didn't,
god.
I didn't want to everyone to know that it was me who had shat themselves. So I started to pretend like, what is that smell? Where does that smell coming from? And yeah, it was
Oh,
extremely
man.
embarrassing. So I'm far from
Good
perfect.
for you, bro, for getting that out there in the
I don't
world.
give a shit. Get it?
I like it. All
All
right,
right.
thanks for hanging out with us.
Love you.
Peace.
Bye.